Well, look at us being like, what is the fifth sense?
How old are we?
Old enough to know this, okay?
Welcome to Sex and the Solo Girl. Join your host, her inner circle, and expert guests weekly for chats about dating, secure attachment, the solo lifestyle, doing relationships differently, and of course, sex. And here's your host, Janice Formichella.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Another episode of Sex and the Solo Girl. And another episode with Jessie Marie. Oh my God. I wanted to do more content with you so bad. Hi.
I'm so excited. I'm very excited that we've got some dates set.
Yes.
Some more content.
We've got more. And Jessie is calling in, joining in from Auckland, New Zealand. The place with the sexiest accents.
Really? I still disagree with that, but okay.
I'm just going off what the data says. I do.
Oh, 100%. I just don't see why.
Okay, so what do you think is the sexiest accent?
I am impartial to like a Scottish accent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or like an English accent. But again, I don't think I would find my own country's accent sexy at all.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then when I went to Australia, people were losing their shit over my voice. Yeah. I got comments on it multiple times a week. And as an American, you're like, what? We have accents?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Aren't we the default?
Aren't we the default? Yeah.
Everybody, go a couple episodes up because Jess and I dropped what might be my favorite episode that I've ever done as a podcaster. And it is called The Anal Sex Chronicles #1. Because when we did that shit, we are definitely coming back to do more. We just threw the door wide open on this convo and we did not get it all in. It is episode number 10, The Anal Sex Chronicles. It is magnificently explicit and very hilarious as well. Jessie shares a lot and I'm just going to leave it at that. But please.
Really? Please no bars hold, right? Like just.
Oh, you were going for it.
Oh,
it was so much fun. Today we're talking about something a little different. It's more relationship related and less butthole related. That is jealousy. And yay, let's get into it. So we came up with this idea actually a couple years ago. We recorded an episode on jealousy for breakups, broken hearts, and moving on. And that's because overcoming jealousy is a big part of our lives as non-monogamous females. And so I have seen it destroyed relationships. I've seen it make people very, very unhappy in their relationships. And it's something that I've overcome in my life. And Jessie, what about you?
Yeah, it's definitely been something that's been there, particularly when when I started my journey. I'm finding at the moment it's like bizarre to me. Well, not bizarre. It's refreshing that like in one of my current relationships, I'm not feeling that. Yeah, and it's like so nice to be like, oh, cool. Like it can exist and like compersion and like that kind of feeling rather than insecurity and jealousy. And I was thinking about it last night actually, and I was like, maybe it's because I don't live with them.
Okay.
That it takes away that one step of like them always being out or like whatever. But I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Like he's, one of my partners has been as with his other partner for the last couple of days, and I like have not felt any jealousy at all. I've just been kind of like, oh yeah, cool. Have do your thing, and I'll see you when you get back.
No, that's good. And yes, that's interesting as well. I was actually in the shower this morning thinking about my relationship with jealousy, which I will speak to in this episode. But I was I wasn't sitting in the shower. I was standing in the shower. And I was thinking, like, when was the last time that I actually experienced jealousy? And I do want to say, first of all, this episode and this topic is for everybody. And it's not just for non-monogamous people. But I do think that as polyams, that we have a lot of insight. We have a lot of important things to share with everybody. And so this is a very, very inclusive show. I just want to make sure to say that. And also just because I was trying to think the last time that I felt real jealousy, we're not at all saying that jealousy is bad, that jealousy is something that you won't experience. I just believe that because it's something I've worked through so much, that if I feel it, it feels a lot different in my body. And also that I'm able to move past it or work through it a lot faster. I don't sit with it.
It makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like the more you work on it, right, the more you can catch it and be like, oh, that's that. Okay. And I guess that's what is jealousy, right? So that people who maybe don't quite know or haven't got to the point where we are, like it's generally refers to like the thoughts or feelings of insecurity, fear, and concern over a relative lack of possessions or safety. Jealousy can consist of one or more emotions, such as anger, resentment, inadequacy, helplessness, or disgust.
I like that's from Wikipedia.
That's from Wikipedia.
But you know what? I only pull things from Wikipedia here and there if they're especially apt. And I thought that this was a good definition. I think it's hilarious, though, that it says helplessness or disgust.
Well, disgust, interesting. But like, I guess the bigger thing here, right, is regardless of the feelings, the initial feelings, like jealousy is not the root emotion.
Oh my God. Yes, completely. I can't wait to speak more about that. Well, so jealousy is not the root emotion. And so fear is the root emotion. Would you agree with that?
No, not even fear. No, I would disagree with that. Okay. I would say it's, well, like I guess at a base level, yes, but I would say jealousy is really like, it's a lack of, like basically something's not being met. You don't feel safe. You don't feel like, say in, I guess in polyam or non-monogamous relationships, jealousy can come up. And I often hear it from mono people being like, oh, I'd be too jealous.
Oh my
Firstly,
gosh.
you don't own someone. So
yeah, I think that's interesting when it comes to, non-monogamous people. I mean, that's what they always say. And yes, obviously we see ownership over a person a little bit different, but also, can you not come up with like a more insightful philosophical argument other than
people might not have that though. Like people might just, because we're so conditioned as society to be like one man, one woman, right? Like that picket fence, 2.5 kids, that's what society's conditioned us to believe. So jealousy, interesting how people will just fob it off and be like, oh, I couldn't do that, I'd be too jealous. So that's like, or you could do the work and find out what the jealousy is. Often when jealousies come up for me, it's like one of my partners is, I feel, spending too much time with another partner and ignoring me, or so I'm not getting the time that I would want or need.
How were you when you were younger, as far as your relationship with jealousy goes?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I was probably like somewhat jealous of like people, and they're like, I grew up sort of not poor, but not as wealthy as some of the kids in my school, and saying that I wasn't from an extremely rich area anyway. But, some of these kids had more than me. And so, there was a little bit of jealousy there. I mean, like, oh, well, that, of course you can do that. You've got, mommy and daddy pay for that and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
Which is why it's a lack of. Like, I was just jealous that they could do the things because they had the money. Versus like, if I had the money, would I really be doing that?
So what about in relationships though? Because I got married hella young. I wasn't taught anything about, oh my God, I wasn't taught anything about healthy relationships. And I mean, I came from a really conservative, traditional family. It was very possessive, I feel, as far as the husband-wife relationship. And I was, looking back, I am like, you were the most insane wife. Like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, I got jealous about so many things. Like, I'm so embarrassed. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, we were so young. My husband was in a band, and I remember one time he was like talking to a woman in the other room who was in like the other band. And I'm getting all, shitty with him because he's like, what the fuck?
But again, it's society, right? And you came from a very conservative religious background. Like that was your default.
It was, yes. And I think the older we got, like the less I really gave a shit, especially because the relationships started going downhill like faster than a speeding bullet. And and then I kind of floundered a while. I was in, a really unhealthy relationship. Eventually I moved to Australia and I started going on this like kind of spiritual journey of the divine feminine and the divine masculine and how they interact with each other. And my jealousy and my desire to control or possess men or my partners just completely evaporated. I had so many boyfriends tell me that I was the least controlling, least jealous girlfriend that they've even ever had. And yeah, it just kind of left me. And then, so I naturally non-monogamy kind of worked for me from the beginning. And it's something that, I have awareness around. And I will say, I don't know, my current partner goes and does things without me and I miss him and I look forward to doing things with him.
Oh, same.
It doesn't fester in the same way. I don't like sit with it the way I think some people do when it comes to jealousy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, like the one of my partners at the moment, the one that I spoke about earlier, I'm like, go do the things. Like, please give me some space. No,
well,
but
I mean, that's one reason I wanted to get into polyamory in the beginning. And also I really like a partner who has an outside life. So
same. I think it's so attractive. Like I love having partners that are up to shit, like having a hobby or like just any, like I don't want to be your whole world. I like,
oh my God,
I can't be your whole world. Well, men and women. I mean, I'm like, I go both teams, all teams, should I say. I bet for every team. But yeah, it's refreshing. What? I don't actually know anything about the game, okay? So I'm not a sports person at all. Yeah, so like it's nice when he is with his partner, and I know like he's got a lover in LA and he's got a lover in Australia. I think it's in Melbourne. Maybe it's Brisbane. I can't remember. That's such a terrible partner of me. Like, I know you have a lover somewhere in Australia.
Because you don't know where your partner's lovers live.
I was kidding. I was.
Oh, okay.
No, I was kidding.
We need a whiteboard over here.
Yeah, right. Like, need to diagram it out. Be like this person. But he'll be spending some time, I think, with his LA lover because they're going to Burning Man. So he leaves Burning Man at the end of the end of this week. I'm like, cool, go have fun. And we've spoken about it. I'm like, if you want to fuck other people while you're over there, go for gold. Just tell me about it when you get back. Like, I want you to have a good time.
I don't go that far, which is fine. Different, strokes for different poly.
Yeah, totally. But we're not like primary partners or anything. Like, I don't do hierarchy.
Well, still. Okay.
I'm like, if you want to do that, have fun. Tell me about it. Like, you never have to ask permission. I don't think that ever.
That I agree with. The telling me everything.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know the nitty gritty details. I want to know like, okay, so when he has, because I think there's limited reception and stuff out there. I'm just like, when you have reception, just message me and be like, hey, this thing happened, and I'd be like, okay, cool. And vice versa. Like, if I want to do stuff with lovers that I have here, or like if I, while he's away, I just message him and be like, hey, this thing's going to happen. Just so you know, so like.
So you are someone who is really has a very interesting and healthy relationship with jealousy. And that is great. I mean, let's talk about this. So yeah, first of all, as we keep on saying that the jealousy isn't something that we're trying to avoid. It's how we learn from it and how we react to it. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, this is why I love non-monogamy is because I always say, and I've said it to you, that it really helps to like kind of smooth out our rough edges. It gives us so many opportunities to self-reflect and, look at our behaviors and how we respond to things. And I think something like jealousy, and maybe this is why recently was, seeing someone new that I've been able to kind of go with the flow for the most part, is that I always look at these things as like such an opportunity.
Yeah, totally. It doesn't mean that we don't get pings of jealousy.
Yeah.
Like it's happened a couple of times with this partner. And I mean, the reason I'm speaking about this partner is because it's sort of like at the forefront of everything at the moment.
Yeah,
And
baby.
there's
Same with
been,
mine.
right? And there's been some like stuff with his other partner, and like there's been some jealousy there from her end, and like, and being on the other side of that and how it affects other people. So, and her and I
I
talk,
can relate to that shit.
right? But her and I have a good relationship in terms of being metas that we can talk about stuff and haul him up. But it
That
doesn't
I
mean that
cannot
doesn't,
relate to.
right? Yeah. I not everyone has a good relationship with their metas, like, and
Which
that's
is
fine.
okay. Well, that's a discussion for another time. But I mean, I think that's awesome, Jess.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so it's not that I don't feel jealousies from time to time. It's like, what is it that I'm missing? What is
Mhm.
it that's there? And it's like, oh, okay, that's what it is. So then I go and
Yeah.
work on that.
It's always some sort of internal, like
Hmm.
something's not right with me.
Yeah. Or like,
No
I
one
feel like
makes
it's
you
like,
jealous. No one makes you not jealous.
yeah, I guess it's
Mhm.
like FOMO, right? So yes, fear, like fear of
Okay,
missing out,
that
or
is
like,
what it is in my current
mm,
situation, I would say, especially with it being new. Like, of course, like they have plans, they do things, they have their life,
yeah. But
their own
NRE
life.
is also a thing, and
Mhm.
you're like, I want to spend every minute of every day with you right now because
Yeah,
like
good old
your relationship
NRA.
energy is like fucking yeah. Um, but yeah, like jealousy, I think it does happen to everyone. It does happen to non-monogamous people. No, we're all human. We're all
Mhm.
gonna, experience it. So
Yes,
it's how
definitely.
you work with it, right?
Yeah, I always think of it. I mean, we're going to talk about ways to deal with jealousy, and one
Mm,
that I'm really good at is mindfulness. You have a thought, you have a feeling, you're able
hmm
to redirect and think and feel about something else.
mm.
All right, let's talk about different types of jealousy. I thought that this was really interesting. I'm just going to go through it kind of quickly and
Yeah,
feel
cool.
free to interject. And this is as described by Dr. Gonzalez Barreros. First of all, rational jealousy. When there is a genuine, reasonable doubt, especially when you love a partner and fear losing them, rational jealousy can occur. So that's kind of like just natural
Overall, like,
jealousy.
I guess
But to
so.
see, the thing is, why do you fear losing them? I think that that's what you would need
Yeah,
to look at.
yeah.
Familial jealousy. This
Mhm.
typically occurs between family members, such as siblings. When a new baby is born, a sibling may feel jealous as the attention of the parents shifts to the new baby, for example.
I have experienced that.
Okay,
Not
talk about it because this
like
is not a thing and that I knew of growing up. And
what?
I'm the
Okay.
oldest of 6 damn kids.
Okay, I'm the oldest with my sister, and so maybe not so much with her, but my dad, over 10 years ago now, remarried with this
Ooh.
woman who has two kids of her own, right? And they were, I think the eldest one was 5 when they came into my life, and I would have been like 17, 18, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And watching my dad have the son that he never had,
Oh, wow.
holy
Oh, wow.
moly, like the amount of jealousy I had to deal
Mm-hmm.
with. And I've spoken to both my dad and his wife about it. And like, I love her. She's great. And it's not the kids' fault. Like, they grew up and they got to experience my dad through a period of time that I didn't get to experience my father because he wasn't around. Not to any fault of his own. He was doing his own life. There's other things there. I'm not going to blame him for that either. But I remember at Christmases and stuff when they were getting all these gifts, or like they were going on holiday with my dad, and I didn't get that as a teenager. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to hang out with them. And like the eldest one is now 18. And it's so
Oh.
funny because over the last couple of years, so it's shifted. Like, I've worked on it and I've spoken to them, and I had to work through all this jealousy because it
Mm-hmm.
was something that I didn't get. And it's not something I can go and get either, right? Like, I'm not that kid anymore, but it's sort of like jealous at the loss of what I didn't have. And like, well,
Absolutely.
if life had been different, I could have had my dad around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's funny now because like the last couple of years, my dad will just call and complain about the oldest one because he's a boy.
That's
Well, the youngest
appropriate.
one, the other one lives with her dad down further down the country. So like, whereas the son lives with them or was living with them. I think he's just moved out because he's had enough of my dad's bullshit, which is hilarious because my dad is nothing like the hard ass that he used to fucking be.
Oh my God, this is what I was gonna
Um,
say. This would not apply to this podcast whatsoever. But like sibling, like birth order is something that's really interesting
oh,
to me. And also what you just said, I mean, there's a huge gap between my age and my youngest sibling's age. And I'm telling you what, I felt like I was growing up in a fucking military boarding house or something.
Right?
My
So
parents
fucking
were
different.
so hardcore. I mean, I still feel like kind of anxious in my chest thinking about it. My youngest brother got to do whatever the hell he wanted.
My sister got away
even
with
make him
fucking
clean
murder.
his room.
What?
I know.
You're like,
I was
excuse
not allowed
you.
to even go on dates that weren't double dates. I had a boyfriend in high school. My parents did everything in their power to keep us from each other. It's like bringing his girlfriend over to have dinner with us when he's like 16.
Oh my
Like,
God.
what is this? Who are you people?
I think as they get, like, the more kids they have, I think it's like a thing. With the first one, they're like so careful, right? And they're like, oh, I'm going to do this right. And then by the sixth one, they're probably like, oh, well, I mean, we'll do our best, but
I'm tired.
fuck it.
But here you go. My
Yeah.
youngest brother and my parents are on good terms, and I don't talk to those people no more. Sexual jealousy. When there is a fear that a partner has been unfaithful and has engaged in physical infidelity, you may become suspicious. I'm actually kind of liking where they're going with this categorization. Because I do think that this would be a little different from family jealousy, pathological.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I like it. But also, I feel bad for people who feel that way. And
yeah,
that's a deep insecurity. And also, it's not just an insecurity. I would say that that's a sign that something needs to be examined or repaired within the relationship.
100%. And I would look at, like, okay, why are you feeling this way? Like, I'm very much like, I trust my intuition now.
Yeah.
If there is reasonable doubt, but have that conversation with your partner and hope that they are being faithful. I think that's why, like, relationship check-ins are really good, to make sure everyone's on the same page and everyone's happy and stuff. I often find also people who cheat are insanely insecure about, like, that kind of jealousy and think that their partners are cheating. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I just saw it with one of my best friends. I mean, he wouldn't let her, like, have a moment's peace, and he had been the one who had been unfaithful in his past.
If they're being unfaithful, they could be thinking, what's stopping their partner from being unfaithful?
It's a very sad way to go about life and to enter into a relationship with. I will also say, I mean, how many times do we hear friends or clients or followers of my podcast that talk about how they looked at their ex's phone because they were suspicious? I'm like,
I have done that.
The problem started when you picked up that damn phone. Or no, the problem started before you picked up the phone. Like,
the problem was already there.
You doing that, it was already over.
100%. I've done that in a relationship. It was a toxic relationship. It was like, I had to come to terms with it being bad. It was a bad relationship. But I checked his phone. He got home. He was he would drink all the fucking time. He was in the military. I mean, and in New Zealand, the military men here don't have much to do. We're not getting into wars anytime soon. Touch wood.
Yeah.
No, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Come home wasted. And I just had this really bad feeling one time, and I was like, And I checked his phone, and he had a message. He'd sent a message to this chick being all like, you have such kissable lips. So, like,
your face is so cute right now. So what do you wish, perhaps in retrospect, that you would have done differently, or like today if something like that was happening, maybe assuming that you thought you had a partner breaking agreements?
I wish I never dated him. Can I say that? I think in the future, like I said, check-ins with the relationship, because this falls, I guess, because this is sexual jealousy, but there's also romantic jealousy as well. And I think they sort of intertwine, right? One being sexual and one being like needs that are not being met in a romantic way.
Yeah.
Again, you could be cheating romantically on someone.
Like emotionally?
Yes. And this is how, like, when I was younger, how I would justify things, right? Because I wasn't having sex with someone. Therefore, was it really as bad? But I was emotionally involved and romantically, like, there and checked in. So, like,
yeah, I don't know. I struggle with the conversation around emotional affairs. Like, how strict are we being with people that they can't connect
again, that was back when like mono life, right? So there's strict boundaries around what you can and can't do
Yeah.
romantically outside of a mono relationship.
Well, and I
Now
think
I'm
if you're
like,
being upfront with your partner that you're having a friendship with someone,
yeah,
I mean, then you'll have to see, how the cookie crumbles. But
yeah. I think again, it would just be conversation. Like when I have these sorts of feelings, I will talk to my partner. But firstly, I'll figure it out in my own head. Like I'm not going to go blurt it at them and be like, "You're the problem," because they're not the problem.
hmm I don't know. I feel this is such a conversation for another episode, but I feel like if you're having romantic feelings about someone, you're developing a friendship, like, yes, tell your partner. But if you're planning to kind of squash the feelings or move past them, do you really need to be like, I have romantic feelings for someone?
I think it's like I don't know. I reckon you can tell when someone has feelings for someone
But
if you're
what if
in
you just want to
tuned.
move past your feelings? Like, can't you compartmentalize a little?
Yeah, I guess so. But like, also, would it not be a good idea to just be like, "Hey, this is happening right now. I'm trying to work through it." Like, wouldn't you
Yeah.
rather have the support from your partners to just be
To
like,
work
"I
through
don't."
having romantic feelings for someone?
Yeah. Like I would just be like, "Hey, look,
Actually.
I'm feeling this way. I don't want to go anywhere with it, but like this is how I'm feeling right now." You could go talk to a friend about it rather than a partner, but
Yeah, I'd maybe say that. Well, see, here you go, everybody. Here you go, listeners. Different approaches to different things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I like a little lively debate like that.
yeah.
Okay. And this is what Jess was talking about earlier with schoolmates, power jealousy. This type of jealousy stems from personal insecurity. You may be jealous of someone who has what you want. When a coworker receives a promotion or a reward that you wish to receive, for example, you may become jealous. I experienced this recently. I've been on a little tighter of a budget, and my friend went and got her eyelashes done. So when things are good, I'm at that, eyelash salon every other week. And I felt some pain. I felt some pain when she
Yeah.
was showing me.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's normal because it's something that it's that fear of missing out, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what you want and you can't have it right now. It's quite common in, well, working situations, but also between friends. And I don't think it's spoken about enough,
hmm
like, oh, because jealousy's bad. It's like, but then the opposite of that is envy. Like, am I jealous or am I envious? Like, it's something that I want and I can't have right now.
hmm
Cool. So I guess things to keep in mind about jealousy, aka how to prevent it from poisoning all of your new relationships. Um, cool. So yeah, the first one I think I just spoke about was like no one makes you feel anything, right? Including jealousy. So they can do something like an action, whatever, but them doing that, unless they're doing it on purpose and trying to be an asshole, they're not trying to make you feel anything. They're just living their life, right? It's how you react to it. And so it's all internal. This is the biggest thing. And the easiest way to work through anything is to realize that it's within you and
Yeah.
you can only not fix, but you can only do the work on yourself.
And once you realize that you are the only one responsible for your
Yeah.
actions and your feelings, it is so liberating.
Yeah. One of my flatmate, I love her. She was talking to her therapist the other day about this actually, and she's like, it's like when it's raining, you can't change the rain, but you can be prepared with an umbrella or a raincoat.
Okay. Yeah, that's cute.
Like being
Yeah.
prepared, like it's just cute to be like, I don't have to act, I don't have to respond in a way that is negative to something that is happening. I
Yeah.
get to choose how I respond to these circumstances.
And it does take practice. It
Oh
really
God, yeah.
does. Like this is work.
I'm
For
not
some
saying, yeah,
people.
I did not wake up being all like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Fuck, man. I used to be an asshole.
That's
Like,
what I was saying about my marriage.
no, this is not a like overnight transition.
God.
Yeah, your this one comes up quite a bit, I reckon, in relationship.
Yes.
Like, your new partner's past has absolutely nothing to do with you, so don't get hung up on it, right? They were not a
Never.
virgin.
I cannot possibly imagine caring about a partner's sexual past. And I don't understand why people think it has anything to do with you or anything to do with your relationship, even anything to do with this person. I don't understand it. But yeah, I still hear it
Oh,
at my age all the time.
They were never going to be a virgin before you. Don't act like, I hate when people are like, I don't want to hear about anything. And it's like, I don't care. You lived. Like, cool. Tell me. And it means that they got to practice on someone else. So you should thank their exes, really, if they're any good at anything. There is nothing cute or sweet about jealousy. hate I hate it how this is sold as, when partners, particularly in monogamous relationships, get jealous and it's cute, or it's like, oh, you love me because you're getting jealous. And it's like, oh, gross.
No, it is really seen that way. And I mean, and along the same lines, this next one we were going to mention, and believe it or not, I have actually seen this on social media, this whole idea, which blows my mind. I've seen actual relationship experts say, if you want to request that your partner tell you where they are, that's not unreasonable. Honestly, and it's just because it makes you feel safe. It's going to make your partner feel safe and secure.
I want to say that again, you don't own them. You do not own your partner. Therefore, like, courtesy, like, if you want to know what they're up to in the day because you care about them and like, oh, cool, what are you up to? Like, how's it going? Different to stalking them and wanting to know where they are all of the time. Yeah, keeping tabs on them. That's not healthy.
If you are that anxious, you
got to work on yourself.
Inside.
You should go do some work. And it's not healthy. It relates back to that jealousy, right? Like, well, it relates back to like, oh, are they cheating on me? Or like, oh, I don't trust them. And again, that's a you issue, not a them issue. That's you've been hurt in the past. Why do you feel like you need to keep on track? They're not the same as your ex-partners. So like, let's not go there.
Well, and trust is a choice, I believe.
I 100%. 100%.
It's not something that someone earns. It's something that you decide to give.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, let's talk about the lingering effects of jealousy and what this can do to your relationships and what it can do to yourself. So first of all, it can start with a seed and grow into a redwood.
What is it? It's like you have two wolves inside of you.
You say that again?
What's the saying? Is like you have two wolves inside of you. Ooh. Which one are you going to feed?
Yeah. Yes, Jess. Of course, it can lead to lack of trust. You can start to take your trust away. It can lead to ongoing fights and conflict. It has mental and physical effects, which include high blood pressure, headaches, back pain, stomach ache, ulcers. Okay, try not to laugh. And maybe even heart attack or stroke.
It's true though, because if you think about your body, and I'm in the middle of, well, not in the middle, I started reading Your Body Keeps a Score.
Yeah.
Which is, like about how your body holds on to trauma and stuff. Your nervous system goes up the fuck when you're like upregulated, right? So jealousy, anger, all of that stuff. If you live in it for too long, it's poisonous to your physical body. I've made myself sick before from lying, and knowing that I was lying, it actually made me physically sick.
Your nervous system is activated to a point that the rest of your body can't keep up. And I have experienced that as well, not because of jealousy, but because of just living in a state of constant anxiety. Like when I was trying to get my visa approved, and ultimately you will become actually sick.
Yeah. So when you're upregulated and you're in a heightened state of any of those sort of like more negative feelings, I don't want to say like they're all feelings, but they're not good for your body to like keep holding on to them.
And it destroys your confidence. I can't possibly imagine a highly confident person
being jealous.
Jealousy linger. That makes no sense. I'm always like, what do I jealous of anybody for?
Right.
And difficulty concentrating. When have you felt jealous or anxious about something and that's all that you could think about? It really does happen.
Oh yeah, and that you can't do anything because all you're focused on is that.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about self-soothing and what you can do so that it doesn't just sit there. Before we take a quick commercial break, Jess, where can people find you?
I am on Instagram at Jessie Marie Co. So it's JessieMareeCo.
Thank you for that. I will link to it, however.
Yeah. And you're welcome to message me, DM me in there.
Let
Reach
Jess
out
know what you thought of her butt
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, please do.
A lot of you know that I am a breakup coach, but did you also know that I work one-on-one with singles to maximize their solo chapter of life? My program, Single and Secure, offers customized packages that include things like becoming securely attached, visualization and manifestation for the future, learning to embrace and love your single life, getting ready to date again, self-pleasure, preparing for your next relationship. Let's have a chat to talk about how Single and Secure can add fun and power to your life. Schedule your free intro call using the link at the top of my show notes. Okay, welcome back, everybody. How do you handle jealousy? We've alluded to letting it pass through you, sitting with the discomfort and examining it. We've talked about how you can use it for personal development, but shit, when you are sitting with these feelings, it can completely overwhelm you. It can take it can completely take you over. I have a resource. Multi-Amory, one of my favorite podcasts, did a brilliant 2-part episode a couple years ago on just responding to jealousy. They gave like 20 tips or something in each episode. It was brilliant. So go check out Multi-Amory episodes 394 and 395. Jess and I are going to talk about some of our own tips. First, you can talk about journaling. And all I want you to do if you're journaling about jealousy is just state how you're feeling. I'm jealous because.
Yeah, get it out. I'm not a big journaler, but I also recommend it to people all the time to just write shit down to get it out of your head. Because if it's stuck in your head, it's not going anywhere. It's just going to circle around and around and around. Whereas if you write it down on paper, it's out of your head, and then you can reflect on it because you can get away from it. You can sort of get some distance from it rather than trying to work it out in your head. Oh, like any sort of emotion that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Or any sort of concern that you're dealing with, or anything that you just like that you need some distance from, write it down. Get it out of your head.
Recently. Think about what you are insecure about and why you are insecure about it. When you are calm, sit down.
That being the important part. Don't do it when you're activated, please.
What I highly, highly, highly suggest is that you calm yourself down and then plan out a time to speak with your partner about it.
Yeah, or the person that you're feeling these feelings towards.
Sure. And maybe even write down what you want to say, think about it, and come from a place of as little emotionality as possible.
Yeah, and come from a place of they haven't done anything wrong.
Oh, right? Yeah. That is.
Do you know what I mean? Come at it don't go at them like you did this and now I'm feeling this, like you made me feel this way. It's like this thing happened and I felt this way.
Yeah, no, this is good. And maybe how can I handle it in the future? How can we handle it as a couple in the future? What can I maybe ask for in the future that you are willing to participate in?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not your partner's responsibility to make you feel a certain way. And so you need to, be careful to come up with agreements between the two of you. They're not, going to maybe agree to everything. Yeah. They're not going to call you every hour or let you know.
God, no.
Or maybe go out with this person.
Oh, no. Unless it's real fair there, but no. Generally, what will help you feel secure in yourself when this person is going on a date with another partner or going out even with their friends. I've seen people get jealous because their partners are just going out. Yeah. Maybe it's we check in, or even if it's just a good night text, even if they're still out, maybe that's what, but it's talking it with your partner about how to mitigate that. And it's not their responsibility. Again, it is yours.
That's right. Now we're going to talk about something that I bring up every other episode. And that is the book Polysecure by
Oh,
Jessica Fern.
yeah.
I love this book so much, and you can tell because I have it underlined and I have all the sticky notes.
Mine is, yeah, same. I lent mine out and I'm like, where is it? I need it back.
It is brilliant because it talks about attachment theory, but from the standpoint that whatever your attachment tendencies are, because I don't think they're styles, is not encoded on you. These are ways that you tend to act and that you feel compelled to act.
Well, they're defaults, right?
Yes.
That you can undo the default.
She talks about it as a personal responsibility with an enormous emphasis on how to self-soothe. If you feel anxious or you want to avoid talking about a certain thing.
And like, even if you're monogamous, people should read it. Like, I think 3/4 of the book is about the attachment theory, and like the last quarter is about, if that, is about it in polyamorous relationships.
I've read other books on attachment theory that I was horrified by. So part of my intention with this podcast is to talk about becoming securely attached.
Oh, I love it.
So let's talk about just a couple ways to self-soothe. And I will drop in the show notes some content that I have done specifically on self-soothing. It changed my life when I figured out how to self-soothe. I was the type of person who something would come up in my day, something would stress me out. I'd get some bad news, which used to happen all the time. And I would just pick up the phone and just figure out who I could go to comfort me.
Yeah.
All the
rather
time.
than doing it yourself.
Compulsion. Yeah. Since I've figured out how to look after my own emotional needs, it's improved all aspects of my life, including my friendships and romantic relationships. We're just going to talk about a couple things. So when it comes to self-soothing, you feel maybe anxious in the moment, distract yourself with a walk. That's something that I still do. A lot of people respond really well to distracting your system with cold water. Yeah. Either on your hands or on your face.
I guess it's about grounding yourself, right? Like getting out of your head and getting back into your body.
Yeah.
Is essentially what self-soothing practices are.
Yes, that is such a good point. I think that's why walking helps, stretching helps, maybe even going into the other room might help.
Like switch up your environment, put your feet in like on the ground, like if you can, if it's like available to you. I know it's not always to everyone, like the ocean or the sand or the like just the grass, like just go and ground and like do something other than just you need to change what's happening. Like you just need to shake up the routine. And that's why why running water under your like on your hat, like cold water or something, will change that. It'll shock your system into, I don't know if I'd want to do that in winter. It's fucking cold this morning.
I like cold water on my hands and face most times of the year. I ain't taking a cold shower any time of year. I can tell you that.
I love it on my face. Yeah.
And I'm, heating up the water for like 10 minutes. My partner gets into the shower when it's cold and I'm like, let me know when it heats up. I'm not getting in there with you. Okay.
I was going to say, you've also got breathe in your favorite sense. So again, I guess it's like, think of the 5 senses, right? Like your 5 physical senses.
Yeah, Jess.
And be like, what can you do, right? So sight, what can you look at that's different? Hearing, smell, hearing is sound, touch. What are the 5 senses? Touch?
Okay, no, we got to figure. No. Okay, I want to go through this. Okay, the sight, smell,
touch, taste.
Well,
look at us being like, what is the 5th sense?
How old are we?
Old enough to know this, okay?
We should. Oh my God. It's just because.
No, I can't. My brain is. You're Googling it. Please tell me you're Googling this.
Oh, I think. Did we forget hearing?
No, I said hearing.
Touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste. We said all of these.
We said all of them. Okay, maybe we just can't count. So yeah, another one is like breathe in your favorite scent. And so again, it's all about your 5 senses. Like,
yes, I love this point.
Like how can you get out of your head and into your body by using your senses? Can you change what you're looking at? Can you change your environment? Can you go touch something to ground? Can you go and smell something? Do you need to eat? Do you need to go have some water? Like,
Have a
maybe you
tall
haven't eaten
glass
all
of
day.
water.
That's one of mine.
You
But
need to
yeah,
have a glass of wine.
yeah. Yeah. Maybe you do.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess. One tip that I want to give that works wonders for me, especially when I have either racing or ruminating
Mm,
thoughts, is write a letter to the person or maybe a text. I've done this recently, semi recently with my partner. And then also, I'm a writer, a freelance writer, and I was having kind of a conflict with a client. And I just came home, couldn't get it out of my mind. And I just sat down and wrote a letter to this person. I didn't send it. Again, this is not as
the
much
most
about
important part
jealousy.
is don't send it.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And so again, this isn't about my jealousy over either situation, but just
Mm-mm.
the fact that I couldn't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
I also once in a while will kind of write a text message in my notebook on my phone. And again, it gets it out of my system, makes me
Hmm.
relax,
Hmm.
and I mean, pretty much forget about it for the
Oh
most
no,
part.
and that's again back to that journaling thing, right? You're getting it out of your head and getting it onto paper or phone. It's my therapist's favorite thing to tell me to do is write a
Hmm.
letter, not just to people, but things also. So like because I was assaulted at the beginning of the year and I was in a moon boot and a cast and I wasn't able to do a lot of things and there was I had a lot of anger towards that. She was like, "Well, write a letter to the moon boot." Like,
I like that. And I would
you know,
love you, yeah, to maybe hear more about that. And going off of what Jess said, you might want to engage a counselor or a therapist. If this
yeah.
is really occupying you a lot, if this is dominating your day,
Mm-hmm.
if jealousy is controlling you, ruining your relationships, which
God,
it
yeah.
is. If you don't realize it right now, it is ruining your relationships. Go and yeah, speak to a therapist about it. It might do
100%.
wonders.
Best thing I do is have a therapist, eh?
Yeah. Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
and I
same.
get,
Even I'm not always aware of what we're going to talk about, but I
oh, no,
keep
same.
going.
And I get that it's a very privileged thing to say because I know here, and I'm assuming everywhere else in the world, it's expensive. So
Mhm.
I understand that's a very privileged thing that I
Yeah.
can have access to.
Jess, before we
Cool.
talk about the Polly song, what
Yeah.
else would you like to share with my audience, with our audience,
Oh.
about something maybe you've learned about jealousy, something you want to remind people? Any
Mm.
closing thoughts?
I think the biggest thing for me is it's a journey, right? Like,
Mm.
just I'm only here today being able to talk about it because I did the work on it. Like, I chose, and that's the biggest part, right? Is I chose to do something about it. Being non-monogamous really brings that to the forefront. Like, if you want to, like, honestly do a lot of work on yourself, own a business, become non-monogamous, like, just anything that really makes you have to look at yourself. So, yeah, it's a journey. And and I'm human, so I fuck it up sometimes. And, like,
Yeah.
having that compassion, I think, is the biggest thing to remember is have compassion for yourself and know
Mhm.
that it's okay and you will fuck it up eventually. It doesn't matter how many years you've been working on it. Like it's still going to rear its head. It's an emotion. Just
Yeah.
it's how you move through it.
Yeah, love it and move through it.
Mm.
One last thing that I will add is that I have an entire affirmations track for jealousy that I'm going to
Oh.
actually drop in the feed. I'm a teacher for on Insight Timer, and that is one of the
Mm.
tracks that I've created. So if you are trying to self-soothe, if this is something that you are finding is really becoming part of your day-to-day, download the track and
Listen.
start to talk. And I'm like, start to talk to yourself and build a relationship with yourself that will be conducive to overcoming jealousy, making yourself happier, making all of your relationships healthier and more functional. To wrap up, and this is already the second time that I've shared lyrics from this song on the show. I recently actually did an episode on compersion with my friend Laura Grant, and we talked about this. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song I discovered a few years ago, actually. It's by the group Climbing Poe, and it is titled Can't Help But Fly. And I call it the Polly song because it is widely known that way within the community. I pulled some of my favorite lyrics, so I wanted to share it with everybody. And I would say go and listen to the song, because I do think that when we lose the desire to control people, when we lose the desire to control our partners, that there really is a lot of beauty that opens up, whether or not you are polyamorous. And some of this song does, allude to those types of relationships. But I really want to tell you, if you can feel happy for your partner and let go of, like I said, the desire to control them and possess them, the relationship's going to be better. Your life is going to be better. Here we go. It's 3 of my favorite stanzas. I believe that God is love, and love, she keeps telling me, this is my favorite part of the song, to step back, relax, and deconstruct your jealousy. Because jealousy is fear. Some days I'm scared of losing you, but you and I are free to leave if we choose to. I'm taking down the bricks of this invisible wall. And when the wind of love blows, now we both can feel it all, because I love this part. You love to hear me sing, even if you didn't write the note. I love to hear you laugh, even if I didn't tell the joke. You know I love to cuddle, love to pull your body close. And I love it when you're happy, even if I have to let you go.
Aww. Cute. I love that. That's very sweet.
Jess, I am so glad to have you as a friend. Targeted this bitch when I first met her.
She did. She came after me. She stalked me. No, I'm kidding.
I honestly did. And I'm so glad that I did.
I'm glad that you did. Yeah.
I love you so much. This is a fantastic episode. You are an incredible human, an incredible woman. I'm honored to know.
Right back at you, my love.
Thank you to everybody who listened. Thank you to everyone who's followed me to the new show or found me on the new show. I would love to know what you think of Sex and the Solo Girl. So go and tell me by leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts. It would absolutely mean the world to me as a new podcaster, and also, kind of trying to get a feel for what people are thinking. And with that, party it up. Don't be jealous. Deconstruct your jealousy.
Perfect.
All right. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sex and the Solo Girl with Janice Formichella, the podcast for those who want to add more flavor to their relationships with themselves and others. If you liked today's episode, make sure to head over to Instagram and let her know. See you next week.